Hello and welcome to Backstage Buzz at the MAC, where you get the inside story on the art scene right from the directors and creators of the events themselves. I'm Diana Martinez and I'm excited to share a behind-the-scenes look at some great upcoming events coming soon to the MAC. A little later, I'll chat with Naebig, the director of Buffalo Theatre Ensemble's next production, Defiance. Then, Connie Canaday Howard joins us to give you the scoop on The Foreigner, a hysterical comedy by the College Theatre Department. But first, I'm so happy to welcome back our resident jazz and blues expert, Dan Bindert, who's here to give us some updates from WDCB Radio. Hi, Dan, welcome.
Oh, hey, Diana, great to be with you.
So what's happening at WDCB?
Well, I mean, we're always busy with things, planning things, for looking forward to the spring and the summer, even though it's a little cold right now. But we've got a lot of things going on later in the springtime. We'll have our big spring pledge drive will be happening in March, which is always sort of a big community outpouring with the station and always an exciting thing. But a lot of musical events too, things like the Oak Park Jazz Thaw, which happens in early March. This is fourth or fifth year that we've done this.
And what's that?
So what's great is, you know, it's in Oak Park, so we have a lot of radio audience in the city as well as out here in the western suburbs.
Sure.
And Oak Park's like a nice halfway point for everybody to meet. But we have a dozen or so bars and restaurants in Oak Park that all on a Saturday from 2 or 3 in the afternoon until 10 or 11 o'clock at night will have live music, and it's all free, live jazz. So you can wander from club to club, restaurant to restaurant, and see real high-level jazz acts from all across Chicagoland performing.
So do you book those shows, or are you sponsoring this event?
We do. So we're in the process of booking it right now, but it's always a great lineup. There are some clubs that will have multiple artists, some clubs that just have one sort of marquee type show. But it's really a great event, always draws a lot of people, and it's just sort of fun because you bump into your fellow music fans out on the street between the places, and you get to know some different restaurants.
So it's like a jazz crawl.
Yeah, it's kind of like a jazz pub crawl.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That sounds really fun.
A lot of fun. So that's
happening
it's
free.
Early March, and that's free. Absolutely free.
So let's go back to your pledge drive.
Sure.
So for the pledge drive, because WDCB is public radio,
That's
so
right.
you have it's the public who helps to promote and sponsor and pay for all of what you do, correct?
Yeah, sure. At this point, you know, in our budgetary scheme, about 50% of all of our revenue comes directly from individual donations from our listeners. You know, there are various percentages that break down various ways beyond that, but it's the biggest portion of our revenue that allows us to operate.
And do what you do.
Yeah, so it's a huge thing for us, and we have 2 major pledge drives. One is in the spring and one is in the fall. So our spring pledge drive will be coming up in March. It coincides with the 100th anniversary, the centennial of Nat King Cole's birthday, who was a Chicago native, you know, came up on the south side of Chicago before becoming a worldwide superstar. So
I never knew that.
Things related
He
to
grew
that.
up on the south side.
He certainly did, yeah.
Wow.
He grew up and attended high school on the south side. Eventually, by the time he was 18 or 19, he was becoming already an established artist. Eventually moved out to California and Los Angeles and went from there. But
so is that your theme for the pledge drive?
That's going to be a part of the theme. Yeah, it certainly is. So that's one of the big jazz centennials.
Are there events that people should look for?
You know, we're right now in the process of working on securing a Nat King Cole documentary for part of our Encore film series. We do a quarterly film series here at College of DuPage, and the last one was in January. We had a film on the pianist Bill Evans, and about 250 people came out and enjoyed the film. And so we're doing these once a quarter, and the next one will hopefully be a Nat King Cole documentary. We're sometimes securing the rights to these jazz documentaries are a little tricky.
It's hard, isn't it?
Sure.
We do the Global Flick series, and whenever you find a documentary, it's always like, you have to literally track down the guy who made it sometimes, and you're like, oh, can we show your film? And they're usually like, sure, show it, it's a college.
Yes.
But it's hard to find them.
Yep, so that's what we do with these jazz films. We've done documentaries on John Coltrane and the trumpeter Lee Morgan and Rahsaan Roland Kirk, who is this interesting character. And then we've shown occasionally Hollywood films like Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues, which is a jazz-themed film. So we'll do things like that, but we do those once a quarter. We'll have information on the WDCB website and on the radio in the weeks leading up to it, but the next one's coming up in early April on the campus of College of DuPage.
You know what I find with these, you know, you can watch them at home, but it's so different to watch them with a group of people and the conversation that comes after.
That's absolutely true.
And you find these people in the audience, you're like, oh my gosh, I really like these people. I don't know, there's something about going to see these movies. Now, do you have a talk that's moderated?
You know, often we'll have someone introduce the film that has some background on the artist or maybe has something related. Sometimes we've brought in an author of a book that, that a film was based on or something like that. So occasionally we'll have something added, but we'll always have, at the very least, one of our jazz hosts out there to introduce the film and give some background on it. But you're right, when you watch something in a crowd with a group of like-minded people, it's just a lot more fun. It's a whole different experience than watching it at home.
It is.
You get interrupted by the telephone or whatever it is. You have a different level of engagement with it.
It's awesome. I think it's just wonderful that you're doing that. So we have some exciting shows coming to the MAC that WDCB is sponsoring and has been an important part of. Dee Dee Bridgewater, Take 6, and we just added, you're the one that you like the most.
Robert Cray.
Yes, Robert
exciting.
Cray.
Yeah.
So can you share, because there's truly nobody better to learn more about these artists from than you. You always know all the little details.
But Robert Cray definitely is, he's going to be exciting. I mean, I think he's performed at the MAC before over the years and always a crowd favorite. But, you know, I mean, he really kind of defines what it is to be a modern blues man. You know, there are a lot of artists still around, even people like Buddy Guy, who were established as artists back in the 60s, you know, before the Beatles even came along. Buddy Guy was already making records. But Robert Cray was part of the generation that came along after the blues had sort of died out of popular culture a little bit. And he was one of the people that really helped to bring it back in the 1980s with a different sound and a more modern feel that brought in soul and rock. And so you had Robert Cray in the 1980s in this era where you know, you're coming out of the disco era with a lot of, the music is a lot of fun, but the beats could be very formulaic and sort of mechanized, and then the MTV area with synthesizers and all that sort of thing. And then there was a blues movement that came along in the 1980s that was almost like a very much a breath of fresh air, because you had Stevie Ray Vaughan bringing guitar playing to another level, and there was a singer named ZZ Hill who was very popular in the African-American blues market and was played on urban radio. His big song was a song called Down Home Blues that you'll still hear Chicago blues bands play in their sets. And at the same time, Robert Cray made it onto rock radio with a song called Smoking Gun. Was a big top 10 hit in the middle of the 1980s, which was very unusual at that time for a blues artist who was singing soulfully, an incredible guitar player and a real tight band, but real musicians playing real music. It was really a different thing in the middle of that MTV era of synthesizers and big hair and all that. So, and Robert Cray now, in the meantime, since the 80s, I mean, he's made 20 albums. He's in the Blues Hall of Fame. He's won 5 Grammys.
He's
something
amazing.
Like that. And he looks and sounds every bit as good as he did when he first hit the scene as this new young star in the 1980s. He really hasn't lost a step at all, so he's going to be great to see.
You need to have your own show just about history of music. You are like an incredible wealth of information.
Well, thanks for the nice
It's amazing.
talk, but it's just fun getting the opportunity to see it, witness these artists up close at a place like the MAC.
Well, I hope you're going to be there.
Definitely.
Thank you for coming on the show and for sharing all your wisdom with us and educating all of us on what we're going to see soon.
You're welcome, Diana. Great to be along. Thanks for the opportunity to come out and talk about music and WDCB.
Thank you. For tickets to Robert Cray Band on March 8th, visit atthemac.org. And for all the latest on WDCB Radio, visit WDCB.org. Coming soon to the MAC on March 3rd is Celtic Nights, Oceans of Hope, a powerful show that tells the story of Irish culture and history through music, song, and dance. Then, back by popular demand on March 9th, is the hilarious political satire show, The Capital Steps. On March 16th, come see the Ireland's folk band of the year, the High Kings. Don't miss the legendary a cappella group Take 6 when they come to the MAC on March 22nd. Come witness the modern dance spectacle that is Pilobolus as they present the Chicago premiere of Shadowland, the new adventure, on March 23rd. For tickets or more information, be sure to visit atthemac.org. Here to tell us about the current BTE production Defiance is director and ensemble member Kurt Naebig. Welcome, Kurt.
Hi, good to meet you and see you again.
Good to see you. I can't tell you how excited I am about this show.
It's a great show. We're all really excited about it.
So Defiance, for those who don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
It's by Patrick Shanley.
John Patrick Shanley, yeah.
Go ahead.
Who wrote the movie Moonstruck as well as Doubt with Meryl Streep, and it's a play as exciting and as tight as Doubt is.
You know what I love about Doubt and Defiance is it reminds me of, and I was asking the crew earlier, I'm like, what was that game that you used to play? And you'd pull a card, and it was a party game, and it'd say, what would you do if you knew your best friend was having an affair on their husband?
Oh, wow.
And
I
it
don't
was
know
called
the game,
Scruples.
But it sounds, okay, Scruples?
And,
yeah.
and this show reminds me, and his shows remind me of Scruples. What would you do if you knew your boss did something wrong and you were up for promotion? That's kind of what I feel this play is about.
Yeah, it really is about what is the cost of doing the right thing?
Right.
And how do you do the right thing? And sometimes doing the right thing means you're doing something wrong, or you have to defy, you know. And so I think it's a play that makes everybody question themselves a bit.
Right.
Question the people on stage, and nobody's painted black or white. The minute you think somebody's awesome, then you hear something else and you're like, well, maybe they're not as awesome. And then somebody else comes along and you go, oh, they seem like a nice person. And then you're like, well, you know, maybe that other guy was okay, you know, so.
And he frames it so well to make you keep having doubt, right?
Yes.
But I think we all have holes in our game, right? We all have a hole in our game, and it depends on the perspective you frame it in. So if I know you and you're a friend, I look at something that you do and I'm like, he didn't mean that, or it wasn't intentional, or he didn't say it like that, he didn't mean it like that. When it's your friend or your perspective, but then somebody else says it and you're like, how could you say that? That's exactly you know? Right. And I think in our society right now, it happens on a minute by minute basis. Online you see it, right? Somebody makes a comment and then 10 people are like, why would you say that?
Jump on it and call them out for something that they probably just did the night before or the day before.
And didn't mean it that way sometimes. Sometimes they do mean it that way, right? You never know. But I think this is such a timely play, and it allows everybody to keep challenging themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like, is this the right thing to do or is this the wrong thing to do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so well written.
Yeah, it's tight right now. You know, the big thing we're working on is as the show gets better, we're just trying to turn the screws a little bit tighter and a little bit tighter, so that as things change, it happens faster, and people are like, what? Oh, okay. Now I think I know what's going. Wait, I don't know what's going on.
I love that.
You know, so it's not. I wouldn't call it a thriller, but it's got elements of that in that you never quite know.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your process. So when you're looking at the script and you say we're turning it and twisting it, right?
Yeah.
I want the audience to keep switching focus. What do you do as a director to make that happen on stage with these actors?
Sometimes, you know, when you're working with an actor, I've played through my own career as an actor a lot of what people call bad guys, and one of the keys to playing...
You?
Yeah, I know. You know, one of the keys to playing somebody like that is that you keep the audience guessing. Is he or is he not? Kind of like Denzel Washington in Training Day. You're like not quite sure. And so when an actor does something that might hurt someone else or be deemed as wrong, often I'll have them follow it up with an action that makes everything seem really nice and great, and people go, what? How do I feel about this? What's wrong with this? Is this guy wrong or is he right? You know, and that again, over and over, it's that kind of themes in the play. And then we start picking up the speed of the show too as we move along, which is it's a tricky thing, but audiences like plays to move fast, and this one's going to be probably, I don't know, about an hour 20, hour 25.
Perfect.
No intermission, just clips along and leaves you agog.
It's kind of like a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it a movie?
No, it hasn't been a movie, but it was part of, Shanley did a trilogy of plays, and this was the play right after Doubt. He wanted to do a trilogy about some of the same themes. And so this was the next one, and I think it's, frankly, I think it's as good as Doubt. You know, it's just that Doubt won the Pulitzer Prize.
What do you want people to walk away with?
I guess I would hope people would look at themselves and others with clearer eyes, you know, and maybe open up a little bit. You know, we're also going to try to do that with a little comedy in the show too. So there's, while I would say the themes are serious, there's a bunch of big laughs in the show. So that always helps. I do believe if you can make people laugh, a lot of times while they're laughing, then you can hit them with something, you know, you're open, you know, you're receiving things, and then you can hear something that is a little harder to.
There's a lot of truth in laughter.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, laughter breaks tension.
Absolutely.
And it makes it easier to accept some truths, because I think a lot of times we get nervous, like, I don't want to feel this way, and then you kind of have a place to laugh, and it breaks that tension and helps you to accept, like, I can't believe this is happening, but this is happening.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
the show begins with comedy.
Oh,
you know, almost immediately people will be laughing, and in fact we even have a pre-show announcement that's kind of funny. So it's going to be interesting to see how they receive it. One of our company members is a well-known voiceover actor, and he does some of our announcements, and he kind of pitched one to us and sent it over, and we listened to it yesterday, and we went, perfect.
I think the show's going to be perfect. You do a great job.
Well, thank you.
I wish you the best. Break a leg, happy opening, and everybody needs to go see this show.
Come on down.
Come on down and see Defiance. Be sure to get your tickets for BTE's production of Defiance, running in the Playhouse Theater through March 3rd. For more information and tickets, visit atthemac.org or call 630-942-4000. We have a great lineup of college programming coming to the MAC in March. Come see the talents of COD instructors in action. The faculty recital will be in the Playhouse Theater on March 7th. On March 10th, come see the wonderful DuPage Community Jazz Ensemble. On March 11th, the DuPage Community Concert Band will take the stage. Get a glimpse of our other fantastic college music groups at the Student Ensemble Concert on March 14th. The next offering from our Visiting Artist series is guest speaker Sampata Aranke on March 14th. This lecture is free and open to the public. For tickets or more information, visit atthemac.org. My next guest is a Backstage Buzz favorite, Connie Canaday Howard. She joins us today to shine some light on the next production from College Theater, The Foreigner. Welcome, Connie.
Hi.
So I love this play. I love this play so much.
Too.
Are you directing?
I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am. It's a group that has some experience with us, and then we have several people who are doing their first show with us. Wow. So it's a really nice mix, and it's a nice script. And I directed Shoes the Nerd several years ago, and with another really talented student cast. It remains one of my, I have many, but one of my favorite student projects. And it seems very timely, so.
You know, I did this show years ago, and there's something about that script that everybody in the cast will walk around saying "fall work," and all the little things.
Yes.
That, one of the characters says. There's a lot of things that stick in your head.
Yes.
And I think it's a testament to the playwright.
Yes.
But it's very sticky jokes. They're silly, but I love the fact that anyone can relate to these laughs, and they're honest, and they're sincere, and they're not hurtful, and they're just good laughs.
Yes,
you
they
know?
are. And yet the message is pretty important
Absolutely.
underneath it. But it's funny, I posted something on social media about this was my next project, and friends from all over the world were commenting on foul work, so, which is fork. So,
And what we're talking about, if you don't know, is one of the characters tries to teach English.
Correct.
And he's from the South, and he has a big drawl, and he tries to teach English to a character, and the way he teaches them is very fun.
Yes.
Very funny.
fork has 2 syllables, foul work. Right.
Do you want to tell everybody what the show's about in a...
Sure. In a nutshell, there are 2 characters that come to this hunting fishing lodge in Georgia, in Tillman County, Georgia, and they're Brits. And one is working for our government as a consultant, and he comes and does a workshop every year. And he brings a friend of his who's in a crisis. His friend feels like he has trouble making conversation right now. He's very nervous, and he freaks out about the fact that he's going to be left at this lodge for 3 days by himself. He just feels like he can't talk to strangers. And so the other gentleman comes up with a plot to take care of him by telling them that he's a foreigner, which of course he is, he's from Britain, but he doesn't speak any English, and he's embarrassed by that fact. So therefore nobody should speak to him. And the result, of course, is that everybody tells him their deepest secrets because they think he doesn't understand, except that he does. And he learns that they are really wonderful people, and he's very affectionate and protective of them. And then he realizes there are some other people who are taking advantage. So he has to step up and be a hero, and he is. So.
And I love how he becomes the hero by making the youngest boy in the home that lives there the hero.
Yes.
He empowers everybody around him to feel special.
Yes.
And he makes the little boy think that he taught him English.
Yes.
Miraculously, really quickly.
In 2 days. Yes. Yeah.
In 2 days, the little boy teaches him English.
And teaches him how to read. I guess he teaches him English in a day and teaches him how to read in 2. So, and the Ellard is the boy, and Ellard goes, "How long did it take me? Like 3 years," so.
It's a fun show with great laughs, a strong message as well. It's a timely show. It's a good show for students too, because I think there's a lot of great characters they can grab onto.
Right.
So you have the man who's pretending he doesn't speak English, who totally speaks English. You have Ellard, who thinks he's teaching him English, who's not so smart and has challenges, but is actually very smart, very worldly in his own way,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Insightful, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the nasty neighbor.
Yes.
What's his name, the nasty
Owen.
Owen, yeah. Owen, and he's a bully, and he's nasty and offensive, and so you've got the bad guy, and you have the older lady who owns the lodge, who's sweet, but she thinks screaming at him is a better way for him to understand English, and it's like, oh my gosh, stop yelling at him, Betty, right?
Right, that's her name, yeah.
So were you ever in this show by chance?
Nope.
It's such a great show.
Yeah.
It's so great. So when does your show open?
Preview is February 28th.
So are you in rehearsals now?
Yes.
How is it going?
Good. We've just started blocking, actually, and it's going really well. As blocking's movement.
Sure.
And while we're doing that blocking, we're developing character, and lots of people, of course I didn't know this when I cast the show, but lots of people are playing a kind of role they've never played before. Oh. So it's stretching people in ways they haven't stretched, and which is great educationally. It's great for their resume, it's great for their acting range. So it's fun. It's fun. We laughed a lot last night. Last night was our first blocking rehearsal, and we laughed a lot. So.
Oh, that's awesome. It's fun when you get to work on a fun project for a change.
Right.
So how many are in the show?
I cast 13. I often do, when I direct something, I often do something that is my take on the show, and it always has, shows are definitely ensemble pieces, and in this particular show, you empathize with most of the characters very quickly.
Right.
And then the other characters you have really strong reactions to as well. But it always sort of bothered me that I didn't see the rest of the community. And so I've also cast community members that were improvising scenes at the top of scenes or at the end of scenes, that stop in and buy a pack of gum. So we have a sense of this community because the community comes into play later in the play.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
and
fun.
it's nice because more students get a chance to be in the show.
Right.
Are any of those students understudying roles or?
No.
Okay, so
No.
they're just
Yep.
like townspeople and community members.
Correct.
What a great idea.
And then we have another faction. I won't say who it is because that's a
Yeah,
part
secret,
of the plot
right.
point. But there's another faction that comes in a scene, and it's a pretty climactic scene. So they're playing two roles. They're playing those people and the townspeople. So so it's a nice workout, which brings our cast to 13.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And what other shows do you have coming up?
In college theater?
Yeah.
1984. So Foreigner, which is
Holy
a
cow.
farce, and 1984, which is a drama and a pretty intense drama, are a nice contrast, and that opens in April. And then this summer, we have still to announce, but we'll be doing a musical and a show that we create from improv that tours the county.
Well, we'll
So-
have to have you back to talk about the next half of the season.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming on the show.
Sure, sure.
College Theater's The Foreigner runs February 28th through March 17th. For tickets, visit atthemac.org or call 630-942-4000. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the theater and next time on Backstage Buzz.